Madhava Kunja Vihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Swami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai Om Shrimadhara Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Sutarashita Shri Devis Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Sarada Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi
Jai.
Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Need to get prepared. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to ISKCON Detroit, Devasodhan Mandir morning Shrimad Bhagavatam class. Before we get started, we'll just say a quick prayer. Narayan Namaskrityam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayan Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiriye
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nastaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. This wonderful Alam Purana has been given to us translated to us by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, which we're very grateful for. Today we're going to be reading from Canto 1, Chapter 11, Text 26. So, Chapter 11 is Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka, Text 26. Shriyo Nivasho Yashyora
Shriyo Nivaso Yashyoraha.
Shriyo Nivasho Yashyoraha
Shriyo Nivaso Yashyoraha.
Shriyo Nivasho Yashyoraha
Shriyo Nivaso Yashyoraha.
Panapatram Mukham Drisham
Panapatram Mukadrusham.
Panapatram Mukham Drisham
Panapatram Mukadrusham.
Panapatram Mukham Drisham
Panapatram Mukadrusham.
Bahavo Lokapalanam
Bahavo Lokapalanam.
Bahavo Lokapalanam
Bahavo Lokapalanam.
Bahavo Lokapalanam
Bahavo Lokapalanam.
Sharanganam Padambujam
Sharanganam Padambujam.
Sharanganam Padambujam
Sharanganam Padambujam.
Sharanganam Padambujam
Sharanganam Padambujam.
Shriyo Nivasho Yashyoraha Panapatram Mukham Drisham Bahavo Lokapalanam Sharanganam Padambujam.
Shriyo Nivaso Yasyoraha Panapatram Mukam Drusham. Bahavo Lokapalanam Sharanganam Padambujam.
Hare Krishna. So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We'll go through the word for word real quick before doing the translation. Shriya,
Shriya,
of the Goddess of Fortune.
of the Goddess of Fortune.
Nivasha,
Nivasa,
residential place.
residential place.
Yashya,
Yasya,
one whose.
one whose.
Ura,
Ura,
chest.
chest.
Panapatram,
Panapatram,
the drinking pot.
the drinking pot.
Mukha,
Mukam,
face.
face.
Drasham,
Drusham,
of eyes.
of eyes.
Bahava,
Bahava,
the arms.
the arms.
Lokapalanam,
Lokapalanam,
of the administrative demigods.
of the administrative demigods.
Sharanganam,
Sharanganam,
of the devotees who talk and sing of the essence or substance.
Of the devotees who talk and sing of the essence or substance.
Pada Bojam,
Padambujam,
the lotus feet.
the lotus feet.
So, translation. The Lord's chest is the abode of the goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is the drinking vessel for eyes which hanker after all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting places for the administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his lordship. Please repeat. The Lord's chest
The Lord's chest
is the abode
is the abode
of the goddess of fortune.
is the goddess of the goddess of fortune.
His moon-like face
His moonlight face
is the drinking vessel
is the drinking vessel
for eyes
for eyes
which hanker after
which hanker after
all that is beautiful.
all that is beautiful.
His arms are
His arms are
the resting places
the resting places
for the administrative demigods,
for the administrative demigods,
and his lotus feet
and his lotus feet
are the refuge
are the refuge
of pure devotees
of pure devotees
who never talk or sing
who never talk or sing
of any subject except his lordship.
of any subject except his lordship.
Hare Krishna. Purport. There are different classes of human beings, all seeking different enjoyments from different objects. There are persons who are seeking after the favor of the goddess of fortune, and for them, the Vedic literature gives information that the Lord is always served with all reverence by thousands and thousands of goddesses of fortune at the Chintamani Dhama, the transcendental abode of the Lord, where the trees are all desired trees, and the buildings are made of touchstone. The Lord Govinda is engaged there in herding the Surabhi cows as his natural occupation. These goddesses of fortune can be seen automatically if we are attracted by the bodily features of the Lord. The impersonalists cannot observe such goddesses of fortune because of their dry speculative habit. And those who are artists, overtaken by the beautiful creation, should better see the beautiful face of the Lord for complete satisfaction. The face of the Lord is the embodiment of beauty. What they call beautiful nature is but his smile, and what they call the sweet songs of the birds are but specimens of the whispering voice of the Lord. There are administrative demigods in charge of departmental service of cosmic management, and there are tiny administrative gods in the state service. They are always afraid of other competitors, but if they take shelter of the arms of the Lord can protect them always from attacks of enemies. A faithful servant of the Lord engaged in the service of administration is the ideal executive head and can well protect the interests of the people in general. Other so-called administrators are symbols of anachronism, leading to the acute distress of the people who are governed by them. The administrators can remain safely under the protection of the arms of the Lord. The essence of everything is the Lord, Supreme Lord. He is called Sharam, and those who sing and talk about him are called the Sharangas, or the pure devotees. The pure devotees are always hankering after the lotus feet of the Lord. The lotus has a kind of honey which is transcendentally relished by the devotees. They are like the bees who are always after the honey. Srila Rupa Goswami, the great devotee acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, has sung a song about the lotus honey, comparing himself to the bee. He says, O my Lord Krishna, I beg to offer my prayers unto you. My mind is like the bee, and it is after some honey. Kindly therefore give my bee mind a place at your lotus feet, which are the resources for all transcendental honey. I know that even big demigods like Brahma do not see the rays of your nails of your lotus feet. even though they are engaged in deep meditation for years together. Still, O infallible one, my ambition is such, for you are very merciful to your surrendered devotees. O Madhava, I know also that I have no genuine devotion for the service of your lotus feet. But because your lordship is inconceivably powerful, you can do what is impossible to be done. Your lotus feet can deride even the nectar of the heavenly kingdom, and therefore I am very much attracted by them. O Supreme Eternal, please, therefore, let my mind be fixed at your lotus feet, so that eternally I may be able to relish the taste of your transcendental service. The devotees are satisfied with being placed at the lotus feet of the Lord and have no ambition to see his all-beautiful face or aspire for the protection of his strong arms of the Lord. They are humble by nature, and the Lord is always leaning towards such humble devotees. Jai. Reading translation one more time. The Lord's chest is the abode of the goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is the drinking vessel for eyes which hanker after all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting places for the administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his Lord. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Radati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vidantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakapatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo Krishnapadaya Krishna Prestaya Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Radha Kunj Bihari Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki Jai Shri Raji Bhagavan Ki Jai Gaurnita Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Hare Krishna. So, the Lord's chest is the abode of the goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is the drinking vessel for eyes, which hanker for all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting place for the administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his lordship. So, Hare Krishna, thank you for this opportunity to say a few words. I'm not very qualified to speak on such a illustrious verse today, describing the Lord, but we'll try our best to break it down a little bit into things we can take away from this beautiful verse. So Srila Prabhupada has been explaining in this Shrimadbhagavatam. First of all, in order to understand Shrimadbhagavatam, we have to learn to become free from envy. Right, to take a humble position, to be submissive. So we pray for that so that we can understand this particular verse. Because in this verse, we are learning, in this particular chapter, in fact, we're learning to see what pure devotional vision is from the residents of Dwarka. What is this pure devotional service? What is this pure devotional vision? And how they're their glorification of the Lord is such deep within affection and realization. We've heard over the course of the last few days or weeks how even the prostitutes came out to see the Lord, how even the elderly gave their benediction to the Lord, how they ran to go see the Lord, right? So much like I'm still trying to run here every morning is, to have that affection, that realization. So in this particular verse, right, Kurukshetra war ended, the citizens of Dwarka are becoming overwhelmed and relieved and in such joyful mood that Krishna is returning safely. They're remembering how he personally had protected them again and again. And so we're seeing so much reciprocation between these relationships with Krishna in this particular chapter. So, and their glorification, these relationships are they're not sentimental. They're all very much philosophically perfect and based on the philosophy that we're learning. So looking at that, number one, we can see that they don't think of Krishna just like any human being. He is Bhagavan. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we heard yesterday, that he is infallible. We may be fallible, but he is infallible. He does not make mistakes, right? All his activities are transcendental. We see that, being Bhagavan means full of opulence, 6 opulences, right? So many, in this verse we see that so many Lakshmijis, thousands and thousands, are serving him. Talk about opulence. There's nothing in this material world that compares to these 6 opulences that are possessed by Bhagavan or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not affected by any material contamination. The material modes don't touch him because he is the source of them, right? He is the source of everything. And beauty, right? He is the source of beauty, in fact, right? So much so that anyone who sees him cannot be satiated. They just continuously want to get more and more and more. So this is this perfection of bhakti, this result of pure bhakti that we are trying to learn from these wonderful citizens of Dwarka. So today we'll continue to expand on them. Today we'll talk about 3 kind of topics to kind of extract from this verse. One of Krishna being our well-wishing friend, his affection to all his devotees, and being the source of our protection. So we'll talk about some of these things. So we can meditate on some of these concepts, and Srila Prabhupada always so wonderfully brings this up in his purports. But one of the words is Shruat, or well-wishing friend. So Krishna is described as a well-wishing friend to every living beings, right? We hear in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Surdam Sarva Bhutana, right? Krishna is the well-wishing friend of every living entity. And the residents of Dwarka, they know this very deeply, right? They're not afraid of Krishna, and they fully trust him. And they don't need to seek shelter anywhere else, right? They have that ability. And Srila Prabhupada explains that this real peace comes from when we accept Krishna as our friend, right? So there is a peace, within the citizens of Dwarka, this happy, joyful, peaceful, not when no one was trying to compete with him and so forth. So this is something that we see in everyday life, right? There's so much competition in the material world. And even we reside in the temple, but there's still competition for service, for expression, for devotee, for association, so much things, like what to speak of, like going out in the material world, right? Oh my gosh, and stuff. But beyond that, when we find and we depend and we surrender to Krishna and know that he is our friend, he's our ever well-wisher, there is peace that is created because he's taking care of us. So And we see in this particular verse too that Srila Prabhupada mentions that there are different classes of human beings and all are seeking different enjoyments from different objects, right? And so forth. So this is a materialist, right? Always seeking pleasure, always trying to derive from the material world where, and there's different classes. There's, individuals that might be in the mode of passion and the ignorance and goodness and so forth. But everyone is always seeking, to extract something. But devotees, all right, we see in this particular verse, the devotees, they are seeking what we call the spiritual abode, right? Where there's, the spiritual abode is made of these chintamani gems, countless goddesses of fortune, not just one, right? But countless. There are thousands of these Lakshmijis, in the abode of the spiritual abode, there's desire trees. Anything you desire can come from a mango, an apple, or this or that. Everything comes from this tree, right? The buildings are made of touchstone, right? Anything, touchstone, desire gold, but devotees don't desire all that, but, talk about opulence, right? It's undescribable, in fact. And the Lord, what is He doing? He's simply with His Surabhi cows, taking care of them, right? These are not ordinary cows either and stuff, but He's simply, that is His occupation, right? What a amazing, it's hard to even imagine because we don't have anything like this in the material world. But Lord Brahma describes it, right? We hear in Brahma Samhita, Chintamani Prakasad Shukalpa Vriksha Laksha Viteshu Surabhi Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Sapasambram Samay Sevana Manam Govindam Adi Purusham Tama Aham Bhajami. So we hear this from Lord Brahma, right? Describing the spiritual world. So if people want true opulence, right? If they want peace from freedom from this anxiety, they should turn towards the Supreme Personality Godhead, who is the reservoir, who has all of these opulences. Because by worshiping Krishna, right, He is our well-wisher, and if we worship Him, this reciprocal relationship, right, we develop this faith that He will take care of us, right, and stuff as we are taking care of Him, and so forth. So materialists not having this affinity for Krishna, they worship sometimes Lakshmiji separate from Krishna, right? And expect from her all these opulences, where she is just simply serving Krishna, right? There's no separation from her and Krishna. She resides on the chest of the Lord, right? And so when we try to worship Lakshmiji, we hear about these Lakshmi pujas that take place and so forth. If it's apart from Krishna, if Vishnu is not present with Lakshmiji, then it's simply diminishing the potential, right? Her worship is for her Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and stuff. When we worship, the demigods, it's like watering the root of the tree, right? If we water the leaves of the tree, will the tree receive any benefit? No, but if we go to the root of the tree, if we go to Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, and provide our worship to Him, then everything else gets satisfied. And Lakshmiji will also become satisfied. So without that, if we try to enjoy the goddess of fortune separately without Krishna, we just continue to get trapped in this material life and all its complexities, right? And stuff, greed, lust, so many things will come into play. And so, simple formula, by rejecting Krishna, we are placed in Maya. So even if we are a worshiper of Lakshmi, if you don't see her in the spiritual realm with Krishna, then it's nothing but falling back into this material complexities. So, and we even see in this purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about the impersonalists. They can't even observe the goddess of fortune, right? Because they're so deeply into their dry speculative. And even like the artists, they say, which I found very interesting, if they imagine something beautiful, like these landscapes, these natures, you see many of these famous artists, painting so many different things and so forth. But that's also being trapped into this more material world, right? What is the most beautiful thing that someone can paint? You want to paint, the lotus feet of the Lord. Look how beautiful they look. The face of the Lord. Look how beautiful they are. There's nothing more beautiful to paint. So, I found that interesting. Yes, in order to bring about real peace in the world and real peace into one's heart and so forth, then we just seek to know and start developing this faith that Krishna is our well-wishing friend, and he is the friend of every living being. Another point is this affection to devotees. He's Bhakta Vatsala. So, although Krishna is considered Ajita, these are all different words to describe Krishna, which means unconquerable, right? But at the same time, even though Krishna is unconquerable, he becomes conquered by love of his devotees. So we see this in Shrimadbhagavatam. So many stories come up. In Canto 9, in text 63 in chapter 4, it says, Aham Bhakta Paradino, which is, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Right? So we see the citizens of Dwarka. They feel confident because they know that Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala. He never abandons his devotees, right? He is, and we see this throughout the verse, how he's reciprocating with that. So it doesn't matter what position they may be in, right? We talked about, to the level of prostitutes, to elderly, to so many, the ladies that are on the rooftop. He's having relations with all of them, right? Because he's Bhakta Vatsala. He never abandons his devotees. So we want to serve Krishna, right? They know, the lotus feet of the Lord, which is described in this particular verse. So, we've talked about the chest, the feet, and then the arms will also come up. But the lotus feet of the Lord are the refuge of the devotees, pure devotees. They take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. They have no actual ambition after that. Actually, ambition is a very dangerous word when it comes in this material realm, right? What does ambition lead to? Ambition. Like if someone is very ambitious, we see in this material world, right? They may earn a lot of material opulences and wealth, but at what cost, right? A lot of times it comes at a very great cost, either family or, so many things. So although Rupa Goswami in this verse uses the word ambitious, he's ambitious for what? So he's not ambitious for being self-serving, right? He's ambitious to be able to serve Krishna, right? So, and the citizens of Dwarka, they know that the essence of everything is the Supreme Lord. And what they're hankering for is the lotus feet of the Lord. And we see that Rupa Goswami, right? He describes the bee. So this bee is is basically the devotees of the Lord. They're always trying to get that transcendental nectar, that honey, right? And the whorl of the lotus, if anyone's seen a lotus, right? It has this whorl in the middle. That is the Golok Vrindavan, right? That is where the lotus feet of the Lord reside. And so the bees are always looking, they're always searching for the greatest of nectar, right? And where does that reside? At the lotus feet of the Lord. So, and we see this in life, right? Everyone is looking for higher taste. What can give me the maximum amount of pleasure, right? This higher taste. So, in this particular stanza that Rupa Goswami sings, it's teaching us how to develop this taste. And to be honest, I have no taste, right? If I had taste, I probably would not move from this position right here, being in front of the Supreme Lord and stuff, but I don't, honestly. So, but we see Rupa Goswami, his mood is that of a humble soul, right? He's like the be-like mind that he has, you know. In order for him to write this particular stanza too, he must have such great taste for the lotus feet of the Lord. Otherwise, how can something like that come out of someone, right? So, and we even see, like, you know, George Harrison, right, with the Krishna book. Like in the beginning of the Krishna book, in the introduction, he writes that everyone wants to be loved, right, and to love. So this relationship, there's no one out there in the world that can say that they don't want selfless love. Right? Everybody wants to be loved. So in this particular verse, the reservoir of all this higher taste of this love is the lotus feet, is the abode of this lotus feet of Krishna and stuff. So, and how do we develop this taste? If we know that's the ultimate position of the pure devotees, how do we get there? So we see in this particular verse that taste comes from the mood of service, from devotional service. So we see that Rupa Goswami, he is asking, please let me relish the taste of your eternal service, right? And so as being neophytes and just, you know, trying to become a devotee and so forth, if we take to this process of devotional service, if we try to even take to it, even just a small amount, right? We start developing this taste, you know, then and then we can eventually, we pray to develop this mood of Rupa Goswami. Another body part that is discussed in this particular verse is the arms. So this devotional vision of protection from the Dwarka devotees. So Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that the devotee always remembers how Krishna protected them. So the citizens of Dwarka, you know, they may recall and remember as they're seeing Krishna, how, or like even just thinking of Krishna, how he's saved them from powerful enemies, how he's removed their fear and anxiety, how he's brought about like auspiciousness. So the residents of Dwarka are relishing all of this. Similarly, in our own lives, we can also come to a point where if we honestly reflect, and I'm sure in everybody's lives, if we think about it, right, was there a point in your life where there was a danger that was avoided, right? Was there a point in your life where moments of guidance had come, right? Is there a point in your life where you feel mercy, you know, that may not have been deserved in your life? So at one point or another, everyone can do an honest reflection and think that, where did this come from, right? It came from the Lord, right? As we develop these remembrances and stuff, it strengthens our faith in the Lord, or what we call Shraddha. So in Shrimadbhagavatam, in Canto 10, 14:8, in that particular verse, it says, Tatte Nukam Pam Su Sami Shana Manaha. A devotee sees all situations as the Lord's mercy. So this is a vision we were trying to create, and we could see this in the Dwarka citizens. So trying to develop this situation in where we can see the Lord's mercy, right? Because that also brings about gratitude in our lives, which increases, cleanses this heart, helps us, you know, develop this love and this faith further. So in this particular verse, Srila Prabhupada talks about the arms are attractive to the administrative demigods. So in Bhagavad Gita, we also hear about the Vishwarupa, right? Like the many thousands of arms of the Lord, unlimited arms, right? So the demigods are always afraid of the attacks of the enemies. But we see that if the demigods take the shelter of the Lord's arms, they will always be protected. The faithful servant of the Lord is the ideal administrator that's written in the verse, right? Because the faithful servant of the Lord knows that the real protection, the real interest of the people, right, comes from the Lord. And this protection, right, that, if as the administrators, they're always trying to, lead the class of men or trying to, make the activities of the world happen, right? And so if the administrator takes to the faith of the Lord and understands the mercy of the Lord, and they understand the real interest of the people, what is going to give them real peace, what is going to give them real happiness, what is going to give them the best, right? And if the administrative class works in that way, then the Lord will protect the administrator, right? Because he's really trying to protect the interest of the Lord, or interest of the people. And so there's this reciprocation, again, in this relationship. So others imitating, to be pure devotees or pretending that they know what the people want. We see so many political things that are happening in our world and so forth, but none of them are acting in the real interest of the people, right? The real interest of the people. What is it? To bring them about into their swadharma, to understand that they are also servants of the Lord and how we should all act in that mood. So because of that, there's distresses and no one feels protected and so forth. So if we learn to be protected in the arms of the real shelter of the Lord, then we can be free of all of this. So what does this all mean for us? I talked about the chest, the feet, the arms. So Srila Prabhupada, he's always very practical in bringing this philosophy into practice. So things we can ask ourselves is, do we remember Krishna only in difficulty or also in gratitude, right? How often are we thinking of Krishna? And how often do we see him as our protector? Or do we see him as just this distant, worshipable means or whatever, maybe not even that far. So, doing this introspection often is very important to develop this bhakti within our hearts. Things that can help us develop this mood of the Dwarka residents: chanting of the holy names, right? By attentively chanting the holy names, we're cleansing our heart in order to take in this beauty, to take in the opulence, to take in the love, to understand who Krishna is. By cleansing the heart, by chanting the holy name, this is the only way in which we can develop this mood of humility, develop this sincerity, to get to that higher taste, that nectar, that honey. So thanking Krishna continuously in prayer, right? What are we praying for on a daily basis? Oh, please give me an A on my exam. Please give me lots of money. Please give me, free me from this. And so what are we praying for, right? And stuff like that. Are we thanking Krishna for what we have, his mercy? And hearing of the Shrimadbhagavatam regularly, by understanding, trying to learn and study the mood of the devotees of Dwarka, how are they seeing Krishna, walking down the street and so forth. This helps us develop our own mood as well too. So in conclusion, pure devotion is full of remembrance, it's full of gratitude and love. Krishna's not waiting for our perfection, he's just waiting for us to take sincere shelter of him. When we take darshan of the Lord every day, where do we start? We start at the lotus feet of the Lord, right? Because they are the abode of pure nectar, of pure, this honey, this perfection, the transcendental abode, the Golok Vrindavan Dham, so many things. So, and developing this be-like mentality, we want to see the lotus feet of the Lord. And he is, just as he protects the residents of Dwarka, he protects anyone who turns towards him in faith, right? Bhaktavatsala, he is our constant well-wisher, he is our friend, he is everything. He is our Father. Where else can we turn towards, right? So he is the source of everything. So let us pray that we develop this drop of loving devotion onto the lotus feet of the Lord and take shelter in that. So thank you very much. thank you. Please forgive me if I made any incorrect statements or incorrect in my thought. And thank you for this opportunity. So, any thoughts, questions, comments, realizations? Hare Krishna.
Very nice class, Mataji. Thanks for the class. Like, yeah, as soon as you started reading the purport, I remembered that Brahma Samhita shloka. That's fully relatable. The clear meaning of that, and yeah, I got very clear. And I like this analogy of bee attracting the transcendental honey, transcendental nectar and the lotus feet of the Lord. Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, nice things. We have to be show our gratitude, and we have to sincerely endeavoring for our service to the Lord.
Yes.
And He will protect.
And you will be protected. I remember a few days ago we were talking about bugs. There's like it could be a honeybee, which is going towards the flowers and the beauty, or it can be like others that hang out in garbage. So let us all try to become honeybees. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, everyone. Jai. Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.